Can you believe it's already almost mid-January? With all these whites and browns all around us, I usually this time of year start thinking of a green vacation. Well, what if I told you you don't have to hop on an airplane and go to a tropical climate in order to find a place where plants are green, lush, and growing? What if I told you you could find a place like that this time of year here in your own backyard? You might be thinking I sound crazy, but it's true. You just have to think smaller. Think of a place where moss is boss. Welcome to the beautiful world of the moss patch. Like most plants, that green color, it tells you that this plant is photosynthesizing. That means it takes carbon dioxide from the air, what little sunlight comes down, and turns it into sugar and oxygen. But unlike a lot of our other plants around here that go dormant or die in the wintertime, moss has the ability to grow and reproduce in the dead of winter. They can grow directly underneath the snow. Moss doesn't need a lot of sunlight, and that's perfect for the winter because we don't have a lot of sun this time of year. And when it's freezing, moss has no problem because it's able to produce its own antifreeze. That antifreeze is why even when everything else is dry and crunchy in the wintertime, moss stays nice and soft. And if you can find a patch of moss, I really encourage you to sit and feel that moss. It's one of my favorite textures in nature. Moss will grow anywhere on Earth where it's cool, shady, and moist. I wonder how many places we can find moss around here this time of year. Why don't you come with me as we go on a hunt for moss? Here's a really good place because water can come down from the roof and it's really protected from the sun. Look, right here, growing out of the cracks. Look at all this moss and check out those awesome colors. Here's a good spot. It's nice, exposed, and usually always wet. Unlike a lot of our plants, mosses don't have roots. They don't absorb water from the ground, so they don't need soil. They can just absorb water right from the air. Here you can see the mosses growing on the rock and even directly on plastic. It attaches using little attachment points called rhizoids. Trees are another wonderful place to find moss. A lot of people say that moss always grows on the north side of trees, but here we've got the east side of the tree. So the reason it mostly grows on the north is because around here, that's usually where it's shadiest and wettest. If it's the right conditions, like the east side of this tree, moss doesn't care. And look how beautiful and soft and lush this patch of moss is. Can't get enough. Fallen logs are another favorite place to find moss. Do you see these little things sticking out of the green part of the moss? These are called sporophytes, and this is how the moss makes little moss babies. These sporophytes, instead of seeds, moss produces spores. And if the conditions are right, and you run your hand across a bunch of sporophytes, you can sometimes see a little puff of those spores shooting out in the right conditions. Let's go inside and take a closer look at what this moss looks like up close. Not only do I love the feel of moss and the colors, but I love all the different shapes I can find walking around the Nature Center. Check out the colors and shapes on this one. It's got these little pine cone-like leaves with these long little wispy hairs coming off of them. Let's take a look at another one. And check out this one. Look at how those leaves are dark green and they kind of curl around. So beautiful. With all of these beautiful types of moss around here, I wonder how many different species of moss there are in Rochester. I wonder if any creatures use moss as their home. I wonder how many different shades of green in moss you can find. I wonder what you wonder.